Hi, Cheryl. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. And I'm really interested in your products. Can you tell us the story about your brand and the story behind the products?
Sure. The brand is called Nutes right now, and the website is nutes.nutrition.com. And Nutes is short for nutrients. And Nutes is a lingo that is well known in the hydroponic plant growing arena. And it is the lingo that they use to refer to the liquid nutrients growers feed to their plants. So in hydroponics, it's liquid nutrients fed to plants, and our brand is Nutes for Humans, which is liquid nutrients, you know, really good plant-based liquid nutrients for people. So that's currently what we're producing is superfood smoothies and juices in frozen form. So we don't use any pasteurization.
Mm.
When we started 4 or 5 years ago, we were a juice bar in a small town in Ontario called Port Hope. And we had fresh cold pressed organic juices and superfood smoothies sold over the counter. And we did juice cleanse packages. And our products were really delicious and high quality and had a local following, but we were losing a lot of money. And we realized that we needed to either change or die, essentially.
Mm.
And we knew that other companies in our position, they often fall back on some form of pasteurization to extend the shelf life of their product
Mhm.
so that they can access wider markets and have a longer shelf life so that they can distribute through stores. And we didn't want to sell out. So we didn't want to go that road and start looking at pasteurization methods and start selling something that we knew was compromised, but would allow us to stay in business. And so we came up with freezing because freezing and dehydrating are the two methods that you can use to extend shelf life that don't compromise the nutritional value of the foods, in particular the microorganisms and enzymes that feed your gut flora. So that's what we did. We just figured, how could we sell these great products that we make using freezing? And for the juices, it's as simple as bottling the juices. But for the smoothies, we concentrated some of our recipes and froze them in puck form. So we sell smoothie pucks. And you bring that smoothie puck back to life by blending it with the liquid of your choice, and they're delicious. They taste like they're fresh made superfood smoothies made from scratch, but it only takes you 30 to 60 seconds to put the whole thing together. So that's our story. We're now a health food manufacturer. We used to be a juice bar.
Fantastic. I think that's a wonderful idea. Frozen smoothie pucks, that's great.
Thank
And
you.
you already mentioned that the products are not pasteurized, so there's no additives or anything in them. And what is the other big difference uh, to other um, other folks who are selling juices and smoothies?
Yeah. So in terms of the pasteurization applies to any bottled smoothie you see in the grocery store. So if you buy your smoothie and your juice off the shelf and it's bottled and ready to drink, it's like almost guaranteed product. The shelf life of an unpasteurized juice or smoothie is a couple of days, like maximum, so 3 or 4 days. Whereas once they're pasteurized, they can sit on a shelf for 30 to 60 days. So that's an obvious difference. But we do have competitors in
Mhm.
terms of the unpasteurized frozen products. So our main competition is a product out of Montreal, and it's called Evive. So Evive came on the market a couple of years ago, and they do something similar to what we do.
Mhm.
They market theirs as a blenderless smoothie. So you buy it frozen, and it's in these little plastic molds, and they're segmented into tiny little pie shape, kind of like ice cubes,
Mhm.
smoothie cubes. And you can leave that in a a glass for 20 minutes, I think they say, and then you shake it with your liquid, and so you can have a smoothie drink without a blender. So we don't go for all that extra packaging and the gimmick of having it blenderless. If you have a freezer, and so you can have a frozen smoothie waiting for you, you likely have a plug for a blender. So we forego all the fussy plastic packaging. We try to keep things really simple. So that's one of the benefits. We also, the Evive advertises really high protein, and they get that by adding protein supplement powders. And we don't go that road because they just don't taste that good, and they don't have great texture, and they have weird aftertaste.
Mhm.
So anytime you use processed supplement powders, you get, I mean, everyone who uses supplement powders knows there's funny tastes and textures and aftertastes. And we go for a really yummy tasting whole food ingredient smoothie that people can add their own protein powder to. So that's a difference too, that ours just tastes better and have better texture because we use simple whole food ingredients, and we don't bump up the protein in the drink. We allow people to do that themselves. That means also that our market is not just the kind of health nut and yoga person market. We want kids to like our smoothies, and elderly people who are having trouble getting decent nutrition, and people who are health compromised from illness and addiction, and super busy people. So we have a really broad demographic that we're appealing to, and part of it is that we're simple. We're real, authentic, simple, and it tastes good.
That sounds fantastic.
The other thing is value. So our drinks come in at about $3 per smoothie, and Evive's price is higher. So our per gram price is lower than all the competitors that we know of that are on the market today. So that's another big reason. When you have better taste and better value, I think it's a no-brainer.
And pure nutrients, real whole food nutrients. So important in terms of people that are nutritionally compromised and perhaps the elderly that can't get everything in their diet. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Idea.
Yeah, and a lot of products these days, you look at the ingredients and they sound great, but if that's a pasteurized product, you're not getting the benefit of those ingredients. So the fact that we use the simple whole food plant ingredients and it's unpasteurized is the key to the health value in the product.
Absolutely love that. And you mentioned the other way is drying or dehydrating. Is there something you're thinking of getting into in the future?
We are thinking of that. We are always tossing around product ideas, and we do like the idea of using dehydration. So I think you'll see new products from us in the future. But we're a very young company. So when we transformed into this manufacturing entity that we are now, that was just under 2 years ago. So I think you'll probably see new products coming from us next year, like in about a year's time. I don't think, we're so busy with the smoothies right now, I just don't see us getting anything to market before about a year from now.
Well, that's pretty exciting and something I'll be watching out for sure.
Thanks.
And so you mentioned some of the people that would benefit from using the product. Are there any contraindications in terms of certain people who might need to take caution? I guess not, since it's whole foods that you're using.
Yeah, I think that people with severe nut allergies have to be careful with our products, because we don't have nuts in all the flavors. We have 5 flavors, and only one of them has a tree nut, which is cashews, but they're all made in the same facility. So it's not a nut-free product. We can't certify it as that. So that would be the one contraindication. And then aside from that, I would say people just need to read the ingredients and be just cognizant of what's in there. So, for example, I had a woman who was battling cancer who had a limitation on the amount of, I think it was ashwagandha that she was supposed to have. So we just figured out what the approximate quantity per drink was so that she could decide whether to make it part of her diet. And it was, things like that. We're happy to accommodate people's requests because we know we want this product to be going to people who are health compromised, and we'll go the extra mile to help them decide if it's for them or not.
That is so lovely. And you mentioned there are different flavors. Can you tell us what the different flavors are?
Yes, so we kind of color theme them. So we have a green flavor, and it's called Go Go Green, and it has a tropical sort of the overtones are tropical. So that would be a pineapple, banana, coconut kind of flavor, and that is the greens in there, spinach and kale, and then there's a pink one we call Pink Pulse. So this is your classic strawberry, banana, pineapple kind of a smoothie, but we give it a little bit of a sophisticated twist with some ginger and goji berries and things like that. So that's a popular one with all kinds of people. That's one of the best sellers. I think the green and the pink are probably the top sellers, but they're all popular. We have a one called Black and Blue, and this one's very heavy on the berries. So it's an assortment of berries, and I think that one has mango in it, and then some seeds. But that one isn't heavy on the superfoods. That one's really heavy on the fruit ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
We have one called Purple Tonic, which is really unusual combination, and it has a unique flavor, and people get hooked on this one because it's a little bit just a little bit out of the ordinary. So it has blueberries, and it has turmeric, and it has cashews. That's the one that has in it. So that would be the sort of mango. So it's purple, but it's a kind of a gentle purple. It's not heavy on the berries. Blueberries are kind of a subtle flavor. So that one you can really taste the kind of nuttiness and the earthiness of the turmeric in there. And then we have one of my favorites is called Mocha Berry. And Mocha Berry is a coffee smoothie with maca. I think it has maca ashwagandha. It has cacao nibs, and banana is a big ingredient in there. So mango and raspberries, I believe, are the fruits in there. So that's the 5 flavors, and they're all quite different from one another, and they all sell really well.
They sound fantastic.
Thank
They
you.
really do. Can I ask you, is there a personal experience or a testimonial you'd like to share about using these products? I know you mentioned the woman that.
Yeah, well, for myself, the reason that we got into the business is that as I approached middle age, I noticed my health was going down. I have asthma and allergies, and I wasn't, I think I was eating quite an inflammatory diet, so I wasn't helping myself at all. So when we went more heavily plant-based in our diet, both myself, my husband, and even my kids to some degree, we all noticed really great health benefits from changing our diets. And part of going plant-based was, for us, I bought a juicer and I started buying and making cold pressed juices and superfood smoothies at home. Oh, and I should mention that all of our smoothies contain cold pressed juices. So because we started as a juice company, that's another thing that sets our product apart from the competition, is we're the only smoothie company that uses organic cold pressed juice in our smoothie recipes.
Wow.
But anyway, back to my testimonial. I was really impressed at how my body responded when I cut out dairy, and I didn't cut out gluten, but I reduced the amount of gluten in my diet, and I raised the level of fruits and veg, in particular raw fruit and veg, and increased the seeds and nuts and things like that. So it really worked for me, and I lost like 30 30 or 40 pounds without even trying. Like my body just, my metabolism was working better and I wasn't bloated anymore. And I really was a lot healthier. My husband had had like an acid reflux problem for years and that went away. I mean, he was taking like Zantac pills like every single day, like candy, and he stopped taking them. I didn't have to buy those for him anymore. So we personally knew that plant-based and raw was really helping us, and we loved the idea of bringing those products to other people. And then another testimonial that comes to mind that isn't from our family, but is just a customer testimonial. There's a woman in the Belleville, Prince Edward County area that buys from us, and her and one day when she was sending in her order, she wrote me a little note to say how much she liked our products. And she said that there were days when our smoothies were the only thing. It's a lot to me because we know that, you know, there are so many people
I'm sorry, you cut off there for,
struggling.
you said that they're the only thing that she could, and then you cut off.
The only thing that her father, who's fighting cancer, could stomach on a lot of days was our smoothies.
Oh, wow.
So I do really believe in the therapeutic value of the product. I think that we can do so much more. And it's so simple, really, to empower people to help themselves and their family members to get better nutrition, to improve our collective health.
Absolutely. I think that's wonderful and so touching, so touching.
When my mom was she died of cancer, and I was appalled at, you know, this was before we started the business, and I couldn't believe that her doctors basically told her to eat whatever she wanted, and she had a sweet tooth, so she was just, you know, and she was bone thin, so they didn't care what, you know, how much she ate.
Right.
And she was eating processed foods and sugar all day, which is just awful for someone who's battling disease. So I think we have a long way to go as a society to help people understand that nutrition is so centrally important to our well-being.
Yes, it's a huge, huge area that we need improvement on, and information out there. You know, coming from people like you, products like yours, and allowing people to empower themselves to create better health. Fantastic.
Yeah, we want to be accessible to, as I said before, to really broad demographics. So, like I know that my little guy is 7, and I use the smoothie pucks pretty much every day in the morning for him, and then I supplement them with any other fruit and veg I have around that I think will taste good in the mix. And he is doing great, and he will not eat leaves unless I blend them into a smoothie. So I get greens into him with his smoothies. He will not eat that off a plate. He won't eat nuts off a plate or seeds, but he'll eat them in a smoothie.
Great way to disguise them.
Yeah.
And can I ask you, where can we find your products? They sound fantastic.
So we are listed with Sobeys and Foodland stores in Ontario, but we're not in all of them. So we're on our website. It's a little bit out of date, but we'll be updating it soon. We just got a bunch of new accounts in the last couple of weeks. So we are in Sobeys and Foodland stores in the Peterborough area and in like Belleville, Prince Edward County, Cobourg, Newcastle, Durham, GTA, a few locations north of the GTA, and we'll soon be Mississauga, Oakville. So we're just slowly spreading over the province. We're in some independent health food stores in those areas as well, and those are listed on our website. We do a little bit of direct selling, but we don't use mail. So we don't put frozen products are a nightmare to send in the mail. So we deliver direct to people if we can, because they're in our delivery region already. You know, they live in areas that we already are taking the product to stores in. And another thing I should mention is that we still sell juice cleanses, frozen bottled juice cleanses, and those have to be ordered direct. We don't use stores to distribute those. So anybody that wants one of our great juice cleanses has to come direct to us.
Hmm. And what is your website again? Your Instagram handle? So
It's nutes.nutrition.com.
okay. And your Instagram handle?
I think it's nutes.nutrition. A marketing person just changed it for us. We used to be Electric Juice Factory,
Yes.
and it was Electric Juice Gallery, and she switched the name of it, and I can email it to you. I'm not sure what it is.
I'll make sure that everyone has that.
It's in my it's actually in my email signature. There's a link to it.
Perfect. I'll take a look there, and I'll make sure that all the ambassadors obviously have that. And, everyone out there will know as well. I'll put that as a portion of the audio cast here. So, thank you so much, Cheryl. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about your company and your fantastic products. And yeah, any final words before we sign off?
No, I'm really, this is our first time working with influencers, so I'm super excited to see what everybody does with the product, and I just hope everybody really enjoys it.
I'm super excited, and I know that they will. I absolutely know that. Sounds fantastic, and I'm going to be searching in my area soon for your products. So,
What area are you in, Stephanie?
I'm in Hamilton, so I can hop
So yeah, so we haven't got to Hamilton yet, but it's coming. Right now, we're not working with a distributor. We're delivering directly ourselves.
Mhm.
But next year, it's likely that we'll have just too many accounts to service ourselves. And at that point, I think you'll start to see the product all over the province.
That is
Yeah.
fantastic, and I can't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Thanks for joining us.
Okay. Thanks, Stephanie.
Bye now.
Okay. Bye now.